TechBusters proudly brought to you by Ericsson.
Good evening and welcome to TechBusters. It's another week in the world of technology, in a world around us that's changing at a rapid pace. Well, we're hopefully here to make things a little bit easier and help you understand it a little bit easier. I mean, we struggle ourselves most of the time to try and understand it.
Speak for yourself. My job is to make him sound like he knows what he's talking about.
Oh,
Right?
really? Is that how you see it? But Tobes, you know, on a serious note, it's kind of hectic to keep up with the pace at which the world of technology is moving at the moment. It's astonishing, and especially in the world of artificial intelligence. I mean, the way that things are evolving so quickly, and it's Moore's law, hey? It's
You
Moore's
had
law.
me at intelligence. But first, let's take a look at what's coming up tonight.
Tonight on TechBusters, Huawei launched their brand new service center in the trendy Melrose Arch area. Toby chats to Prof Barry in Braamfontein, and we take a look at Volvo's brand new and fully autonomous truck. It's the future of artificial intelligence tonight on TechBusters. Huawei is a brand that's always on the cutting edge of both fashion and technology, so it makes sense that they launched their brand new and very funky service center in the upmarket and trendy Melrose Arch. The TechBusters team were there to capture the festivities.
We believe that a premium brand and a premium service is inseparable, and we look forward to connecting our consumers through dedicated services such as training sessions, on-site device repairs, free device engraving, and an extensive range of accessories to choose from. We're empowering consumers to make informed purchase decisions about our brand. Today is the launch of the Huawei flagship service center in South Africa, and it's the first of two. Today we opened the Cape Town one.
Why is this important?
Well, because we want consumers to be able to touch and feel our entire product line, because we operate across smartphones, connected devices as well as tablets, and we want consumers to be able to make informed purchase decisions, to be able to see all our products.
And what sort of services are you guys going to be offering here?
On-site repairs, product training around your devices, purchase of accessories, and some devices that are not available in other channels, so unique products.
Where else have you launched service centers in terms of the world at the moment?
Everywhere in the world. We're actually one of the last markets to be opening service centers.
What's taken so long?
Well, we wanted our market share to be of substantial size, you know, the tipping point, and we're already at the tipping point this year.
What have you got in terms of new cell phones or new things coming up or lined up? What has Huawei got hidden as a brand?
Oh my gosh, we have so much in Q1, but it's still confidential at this point. Some of the products such as the Nova and Nova Plus, which have had worldwide releases, will be available in Q1 in South Africa. And new products, which we can't talk about, but seriously cutting edge innovation.
How do you sort of employ people that work in your service center? What is your core focus here?
We've had a very interesting method of choosing staff for the store. So we've held a competition, we've advertised it online, and we've asked people to apply to join our service center. And CVs have been coming in left, right, and center. We found the most interesting, young, innovative, well-trained, enthusiastic people to join our brand. And we think that will work for us in the future.
I'm standing in what was once a nightclub in Braamfontein with Prof Barry Dwolatzky, and he is the originator of this fantastic new precinct just near the University of the Witwatersrand that is going to be one of the country's great digital hubs. Just tell us a little bit about how this whole project came together.
Well, it's called the Tsimologong precinct. It's in Jutta Street. About 3 years ago, I noticed what was happening across the world and across Africa. I saw the amazing things happening in Kenya, in Nairobi with the iHub. And I started thinking, where's the space in Joburg? Where do geeks and others gather to do digital innovation? And the truth is, and was then, nowhere. It's not happening in Joburg. And why should it happen in Joburg? Well, we are the business hub of South Africa and Africa. And a lot of the IT, ICT, digital content, digital hardware is really focused in this area in Joburg. So I looked around, and I think that part of Joburg that ticked many of the boxes is Braamfontein. And I spoke to the university, and we had some old buildings that were bought by Wits for purposes of setting up a res or doing something, but were standing empty. And they said, well, use these buildings. So I was given use of these buildings in 2013. And I've been raising funds to renovate them and turn them into this digital precinct. And on the 1st of September, we officially opened it. So we are done with the building. We're now looking at bringing programs and activities in. We ran our Fagugezi festival in here, which was amazing. We had thousands of people coming in. And now we look to use the space in many different ways.
And it's a real draw card because IBM have opened their second lab on the African continent right next to what's a 700 million rand project. I mean, that's a real a hallmark of potential success for this area.
Absolutely. I think that this depends on partnerships and an ecosystem. And the real draw card was to get IBM Research to create their 12th lab in the world, their second in Africa, here in Braamfontein in Johannesburg. And it's a fully fledged IBM Research lab. Their researchers doing work on health informatics, on smart cities, on the square kilometer array. They've got Watson here. So this is really, cutting edge, leading digital innovation and technology. And it's the first one in the world where a corporate research lab is part of a digital innovation hub. So I think that's been great. And then we've got a number of other partners, Province, City of Joburg, some companies like Cisco, Microsoft, MMI, AXA, who are part of this ecosystem as well. So I think we can't but succeed in this space.
And the thing that I find most delightful is that this used to be a nightclub, right? Like the denizen of the night, and now it is a place where people come during the day to create a future.
Yes, when I started to bring people into this space, so we're standing now and just next to us with the gay clubs of Joburg. This was Therapy and Gas, then it became Ink, and it closed in 2010. But I bring people in and you see them sort of retake and saying, gosh, is this where we did those things or met those people? So it's really exciting not to tear down and rebuild, but say this space, which was very much where youth culture focused in Braamfontein at that time. And now it's a different group of people focusing around different things, but it still will keep that nightclubby kind of a vibe.
And I think one of the real draw cards, I'm sure you're going to agree with me because they're your employer, is that you have the university. There's a strength and a background and a depth of knowledge and experience that comes from an institution like Wits University that brings a lot of useful resources and academic talent to a place like this.
Yeah, and looking around the world at places like this that have really succeeded, they all are closely associated with universities. It might not be on the campus. In fact, it doesn't help to put it on the campus, but in close location to the university. And we call this Tsimologong for a reason. It means new beginnings. And it's a new beginning in many senses, but it is a new beginning for Wits, because Wits University, we became a campus. We closed our access. We got cut off from the inner city. And this is Wits reinventing itself. It's Wits reconnecting with the inner city.
And giving a grand opportunity to a bunch of young innovators and entrepreneurs. So good luck.
Thank you very much, and keep in touch. We'll keep this place going.
One of the things that I'm a big fan of is this Alcatel One Touch phone, the 2004C. And it's very clever because what it does is it has very big buttons and a very big screen and a hardwired button on the side to lock and unlock. And why this is so useful is because people of my mother's age who are 87 really need a device that is simple, that has big buttons, has a big clear screen, and has a very loud ringtone, which is what this one does. So the great thing about this Alcatel phone, and this is the second or third generation that I've gotten for my mother, is that it's perfect for the user group that uses it. So as much as smartphones are really great and the touchscreen's great, for a generation of people who grew up before the computer era, before these fancy smartphones, this is actually the technology that they need. Big buttons, bright screen, loud ringtone, and just custom made for the market to whom it is so useful.
When it comes to aircraft engines, rocket motors, even nuclear power plants, the heat is constantly on to make the parts inside stronger, more reliable, more durable.
And you may not want to know this, but when your plane takes off, the materials in the hottest part of the engine reach about 90% of their melting temperature. And so there's always a desire to find a material that can operate at a higher temperature.
With support from the National Science Foundation, material scientist Teresa Pollack and a team at the University of California, Santa Barbara are partnering with GE to develop new multi-layered materials designed for high performance in extreme environments.
So when we say extreme, we mean very high temperatures, very high strain rates, perhaps in radiation environments. And because the environments are so severe, you typically need more than one layer of material to serve a different function.
They make and test these multi-layered materials in the lab. The base layer, or substrate, is a metal engineered to hold its shape under scorching temperatures. Then there's a thin ceramic outer layer, just a couple of hairs width in diameter, designed to deflect heat. And the middle layer holds it all together.
So it's sort of like a thermal blanket, a sticky sheet, and the big bed underneath.
Making sure the layers work together can be tricky. For instance, the outer ceramic layer of an airplane engine blade may be an excellent heat shield, but as these tests show, it's permeable to contaminants like sand or volcanic ash. These can easily get sucked into an engine, causing potentially catastrophic problems. So Pollack's team is working to beef up the next layer down.
What the layer underneath has to be is impermeable to anything that comes through the top coat.
They're also working on how to make metal substrates stronger than anything currently in use.
We've grown this in the laboratory downstairs, and it is a single crystal.
This cylinder is made of one large crystal of a cobalt alloy. Most metal parts fail at what's called the grain boundary, where microscopic metal crystals join together. A part made of a single crystal wouldn't have any grain boundaries, making it super strong.
And we slowly withdraw it at a rate which will grow the crystal in probably a period of 3 to 4 hours.
Pollack's team is pioneering the use of new modeling tools to speed up the development process, using advanced computer algorithms and big data analysis to hone their designs before testing them. And they designed and built a custom microscope that combines electron, ion, and laser beams to analyze the new materials for defects at the nanometer scale in 3 dimensions.
This addition of the laser basically speeds up the process of gathering the information by 1,000,000 times. So what used to take 6 months, 9 months, now we can do in a couple days.
Designing and testing multi-layered solutions to some red-hot engineering challenges. These are some innovations that are ready for liftoff.
What happens if you wanted to make an investment and that investment was tax deductible? Well, that's the idea behind GrowVest, which is what you do, Clive. You're the CEO of this very clever venture capital fund that allows people not only to invest in interesting startups, but get a tax rebate. Tell us a little bit about it.
Yes, thanks, and thanks for the opportunity. So, promulgated under SARS in 2009 was something called Section 12J, which enabled investors to get 100% tax deduction on their investment into a venture capital, a Section 12J venture capital fund. So now we launched GrowTech in the end of last year, which is a Section 12J venture capital company. We raised an initial capital raise of 62 million, and we're currently on our second raise to raise an additional 38 million to close out at our second round at 100 million. So really the benefit here to investors is there. SARS implemented this to stimulate economic growth, to help with the investment into earlier stage companies and to help grow those companies. And investors that are the retail investors or institutional investors would get a 41% risk-free capital or deduction on their taxable income. And for companies it would be at their marginal rate, which would be 28%.
So it's a good thing altogether, right? People can invest in startups who, desperately need investors. And there's a secondary benefit in that you can get a good tax break.
Well, I think absolutely, Toby. I think firstly you can get the tax break. So a lot of investors don't want to write their check out to SARS, and they'd rather put it and get to play in the tech space. We're a disruptive digital technology fund, and a lot of people don't have the skills to actually invest in these startups themselves, and they do it through our venture capital company. We have a very, very established board, highly experienced people that have built very big companies and exited very big companies. And literally today, anyone who's got a broadband connection, an iPad or an Android device, and any idea can basically start a technology company, literally in a weekend.
Yeah,
so,
indeed.
So technology's been democratized, and that's what we're seeing. Instead of spending, if I think back to 2000 when we made one of our first investments, it was to start an internet company was probably 50 million rand. That same company today, with the cost of broadband, the cost of telecommunication, the cost of transmitters, the cost of hardware, cost of software, the cost of hosting in the cloud is 50,000 rand. So it's 1,000 times cheaper 16 years later.
I mean, it really is quite something, isn't it? That the evolution of technology, the infrastructure of technology, makes it possible for entrepreneurs to focus on the idea, on the service, not on the hardware.
Absolutely right. I mean, hardware to us now is just a utility. So the companies we invest in, typically we invest in a lot of SaaS-based businesses, cloud-based businesses, and they use Amazon or they use Microsoft, they use the Azure cloud, and they pay for what they need. So they don't have to have that expensive hardware.
What kind of investments are you looking at? What level? I know there's a dire need for angel investment, but it's not everyone's cup of tea to take such risky investments.
It's a great question. I mean, we've got two. Our clear investment strategies we deploy our capital is in businesses that are looking for growth capital. So they're businesses, they're not products, they've got a business, they've got some traction in the marketplace, they've got referenceable clients, they've got revenue, but they don't have to yet be post-profit. They can still be not making money, but they're making revenue, and they've got a track record. That's typically we want to pour gas on the fire and help them create that hockey stick effect. So really help them with attraction, with helping them with hands-on mentoring, help them with access to markets, which is one of the biggest challenges entrepreneurs face, is they just don't know how to get distribution. They can't get customers, and we help them get customers. The second area we also do look at earlier stage businesses, not for capital necessarily, but if we see a business that really we think's got a great entrepreneur, they've got execution intelligence, they've got a great product, and we think they can really have exponential growth, the 10x, 100x type of growth, we'll help mentor them, we'll help create channel for them, and we'll take an option in looking at investing them later. So we do look at the earlier stages, not for capital at the early stages, but for capital injection at the later stage.
So how does GrowVest differ from, say, another VC fund? I mean, I know you have a very strong board, and you yourself have a great track record in this space. What's the key differentiator?
Well, I think, as a typical entrepreneur, I'll talk about our unique selling proposition, and I think our USP really is we're a very, very high-touch venture capital company. So besides myself, there's 7 board members. So we've got very, very established business people and entrepreneurs who've all in their own rights are very, very successful. And it's not about the names, it's about actually rolling up their sleeves and getting involved in sales, in strategy, in business development, product development. We actually help the company scale. So we don't just deploy capital and see them at a board meeting in 3 months. We would literally on the phone to them literally every second day, helping them scale their businesses. And I believe that, to me, is more and I learned this spending time in Silicon Valley, and I think that's the Silicon Valley approach, is where it's ex-entrepreneurs who have started a venture capital fund, who have access, they have the relationships and know how to scale businesses. And we think that's what GrowTech's unique selling proposition is.
Great. Well, good luck, Clive. Thanks for coming in to let us know.
Thank you very much.
So Volvo's fully autonomous truck is the first in the world to be tested in operations deep underground in the Christiansberg mine. The self-driving truck is part of a development project which is aimed at improving the transport flow and safety in the mine. The truck will cover a distance of 7 kilometers, reaching 1,320 meters underground in the narrow mine tunnels. And take a look at this, it's quite impressive. And when you look at autonomous driving cars that we hear so much about, it's going to be the trucks that are going to change the autonomous driving scenario before the cars do. This is where it's happening, and this is why this is so epic. Check it out.
Thank you for stopping. You're looking at the first truck in the world that could drive all by itself in these difficult conditions. It uses laser sensors to see. Time to drive on. It's still a concept truck, but we are already testing it in real operation. This will truly change the mining industry and the whole society. It will make it more productive, more sustainable, and safer. And it's just the beginning. All industries will be influenced in the future.
Okay, so I've got a strange product that I'm reviewing on the show tonight. This is a really interesting little device. It's a box, right? Now, you know the airports, and some airports have still got them. I think Bloemfontein Airport and George Airport still got one of these devices. But you know where the flight changes happen and they've got the device going and it tells you that the new flight has changed. So this is exactly what it is. It's using that technology, but this is called Flip It, right? Now, how Flip It works, you connect this little box is connected to a Wi-Fi network, and it's aimed at small businesses and companies that want to engage on social media. So you set this up once it's connected to Wi-Fi through a little dashboard, and it's got YouTube, it's got Twitter, it's got Facebook, it's got Instagram, it's got all the social media platforms that you link your accounts to this one over here. So as soon as you get a like, for example, or you get another Twitter follower, this will change. It'll tell you Twitter and the followers have changed. So it's really an engagement tool, a sexy tool that's connected to a wireless network that's plugged into your social media platforms, and gives your customers an idea.
As long as it's only how many characters can you have?
No, you got
2, 3,
well.
4,
this
5,
is
6,
the one
7.
that uses the YouTube or whatever, and then you got 6 characters, so you can engage. But if you've got 1 million followers, you can add an extra number at the end. But it's quite cool. It's clever. There's a company that's doing something. Somebody's thought about this.
I think it's great. I always love the 50s watches that use this falling over clicking technology, whatever it's called. to change time.
Yeah.
Hey man, I'm a big fan of retro technology.
Yeah, so it's called Flip It. If you're a small business, look it up. Check out the video. It works pretty well. I connected it. If I can connect something like this, you can do the same thing. That's where we're going to leave it for tonight before Toby complains too much about my voice. Thank you for joining us, folks. We hope you've enjoyed the show. Keep us in mind when you're thinking of your technology and you're using your technology. Do tweet us.
He is at Aki Anastasio. I am at Shapshack. The show is at TechBusters SA, #TechBusters. Thank you for joining us. You can also email us, techbusters@abn360. Please tell us how much more of Aki's voice you'd like to hear. Good night.